All right, everybody, the 3.8 SFI Turbo is warming up here. It is Friday, and we're off to Indianapolis, Indiana. Let's go.
3 hours and 11 minutes.
So last night was kind of interesting. Yesterday was Hebron, Ohio National Trail Raceway, which is east of Columbus. Hotel I picked was south of Columbus because, you know, the racetrack's in the middle of a cornfield. There's no hotels there. I guess it might have been better to pick a hotel west of the racetrack because we're going from Hebron, east of Columbus, basically past Columbus to Indianapolis. So there weren't that many. There were some car guys where we stayed, but not that many. So we had a great dinner. By the way, if you're in Lancaster, Ohio, and you want a nice dinner, the Ale House 1890, superb. I had the mahi-mahi dessert. It was a brownie with an ice cream on it. And what did you have, Brent? You had the...
I had fish and chips. It was good.
Fish and
chips.
Had
sriracha, tartar sauce, and there was a creme brulee.
Oh, yeah. Creme brulee, right? That stuff's cool. Learned something about that. Then hung out with three guys, so I want to give a shout out to, it was Hank, Alex, and Rod with the, I didn't even catch, but it's a cool patinaed 60s light blue pickup truck with a 350 Chevy with the EFI on it. You guys are cool as heck, man. That was awesome hanging out with you guys. Just, you know, BS'd and told stories until we were all too tired to do so and then went to bed. So, you know, I think that's part of the beauty of this thing is, at the end of the day, you know, I mean, we talk about cars and hot rods and, you know, all these things, but it's really the people that makes this. It's really the connections you make. And I've gotten to meet so many people and, you know, conversations that haven't been documented on here, you know, but that's really the cool part is the ideas, the people, and the connections that you get to make, I think are really golden about this thing. At our hotel. Gran Turismo Homologato. Ali LS Fest, that's kind of cool. Some cool old trucks. It's a Ford. I couldn't even tell you within 10 years what it is, but they're cool looking. Look at that. Look at that. 57 Chevy wagon. Look at this Plymouth. I don't know what it is, 66 Roadrunner. I'm gonna guess, I'm probably wrong, but man, look at the stance on this thing. Look at his tires back there. In case you guys haven't figured it out yet, I love these cars with the, right, you know, big rims, wide tires in the rear, or wide tires all the way around. I really like them. Look at this thing. And what year is this? 70? Coronet. I always thought it was Cornet, but it's not. So I just learned something there. It says Hemi on the back of it, and on the side of the scoops, and you look, and you see that. You see modern fuel injection. They said they're one leg, they're getting 30 miles per gallon on the highway. Apparently it's got a T56 6-speed out of a Dodge Viper. Look at that. So it's probably a 0.5 overdrive. There's that one, sounds good. Here we are at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park. I think this is where the big boys race, the dragsters. Doesn't look as crowded today. You know what I said a minute ago? Because we were only like 10 rows back, it wasn't that big. Here's the rest of it. It just goes on and on. I love that sticker.
I was going to ask him whether I should tell you that I have a turbo with this color.
It's his car, I'm just a mechanic.
78, 79, 80?
80.
80 Century?
The hood's a 79. Regal.
It's
wow.
It's been ruined.
Oh, that's funny.
It made it here. So. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's in one piece mostly.
So we just spent about, I don't know, 20 minutes talking to a guy that has the 5.3 and that 79, did he say? 78? He said it was an 80. 80 Century. And I tell you what, there's no better knowledge than from people that have actually done things.
you know, everything from, you know, why he sized the alternator cable to, you know, how he connected the vent for the, you know, whatever you call it, the coolant system.
Power steering pump, you made it fit.
Yeah, the power
Don't
steering.
do it that way.
Yeah, you know, the power steering pulley and which fittings that you use to get it to work together. And, you know, I mean, there's, you know, the book's smart, but when you talk to people who have actually done something, that's what a lot of these things are really, really great for, is when you meet a bunch of people in one location who've done the kinds of things that you want to do. Another super cool car, 1950 Chevy. And this patina is actually, he did it and used semi-gloss clear paint. So apparently the body was very, very rusted. So what you achieve is something that looks like it's just old weathered without any rust holes. And it's not clear coat. He said this is buffed and polished. And if you see under the hood, see what we got here, supercharged LS. Very nice. Wow, look at this. That exhaust has gotta be... Hey Brent, I think you're wrong. I think it's 8 inches, not 7.5 inch exhaust. These rims and tires. It's incredible. Now we saw this car yesterday, but not to the owner, 2003 Denali. So apparently the wheel wells were moved back. He said that part is closer to the bumper on that real car. Stretch the rear wheel openings. So this is a 2003 Denali frame. Floorboards from the Denali have been lowered down. And it's the drivetrain from the Denali. And he just showed me something that I thought was crazy. You look in the trunk, there's rear AC blower. And if you want to see it, there you go. I'm about at the end of where I said it goes on and on forever. And it... Go away. Here's another example of a patina job here. This one's obviously very glossy. This is obviously where the entire body has been done. Sheet metal is very straight. And there's no actual damage on it, but it's made to look weathered. What do you guys think? You like it? Let me get up close to it. See how that's been done?
Somebody giving... Oh, sorry.
And there's Larry Dixon, top-fuel driver. To sit here and listen, talk. It's awesome. Great. All right. Can we do a 60-second version of that for my channel? Now that I had, you know, is that okay? So this is what races in what class, and this is a what year Firebird?
It's a 73 Firebird.
73 Firebird. Okay, what classes will this race in?
Race in global time attack, super lap battle.
Okay.
High speed hill climbs. We race in an unlimited class in those kind of events because it was built essentially with an open rule book. It has a
got it. Okay.
So because there's nothing left of the original firewall of the car and nothing left of the original floor pan, it makes it in a very unlimited class, and a lot of pro-built cars end up in that class, or a lot of purpose-built race cars.
Okay. Bob Powers, by the way, from Ohio.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Where can we?
Cameron.
Russ?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. When and where can we find more about this? Horizon Motorsports?
Yeah, if you visit our Instagram page at Horizon_Motorsports_LLC on Instagram, we have 123,000 followers, and we have many of our sponsors, and then we have a YouTube channel as well. I forget what that's under, but it's Horizon something or other. My son set that up.
Yeah. And then
of course, we're on the cover of Hot Rod Magazine for the June edition.
nice. And the motor is about. You can see the crank pulley starts about there.
Yeah.
It goes back to there.
It's pushed back the entire length of the engine, so somewhere
Right.
around 28 inches back. We pushed the engine back for a couple of reasons. The first one was we wanted to maintain these IndyCar geometries in the suspension system we chose, and we also wanted the weight distribution to be as favorable as possible to
Right.
the rear, and we have a 53% rear weight distribution.
Wow. I would call it front mid-engine. And you were explaining to me, because I knew a little bit about this stuff, so what is this bar called that goes up an angle that
right here we
actually...
have this is a push rod. So basically
rod?
you're just transferring the load as the wheel goes through a motion or a bump or rebound. This is what controls the whole upright assembly. These wishbones articulate. This load or rebound is put through a rocker. This rocker pivots on the post here. We've got a potentiometer in the middle. This potentiometer just tells us how much and how fast this rocker moves.
Yeah.
When you start looking at shock valving, you really want to know a lot about velocity.
Okay.
So the rocker pushes around this direction. It brings this link with it when it comes. If the car is going straight down a straightaway, obviously both of these will be compressing at a same rate.
From the downforce from these things out here.
Yeah, from the downforce. Pushes it all back. These links get pulled back with it, and it closes the gap in this third device. When you finally close this entire gap out of this third device and you sit on this spring, now you're going to hold the car up for its aerodynamic loads at high speed. It all transfers through a T-bar. And that T-bar is your anti-roll bar setup that goes from the T into a blade assembly that's fully adjustable in the cockpit.
And I saw that. Would you mind touching the blade or rotating it? You guys watch this. This is cool. So that's flat. So horizontal is maximum resistance, and that thing actually bends, right?
Yeah,
or no.
When it's like this direction and this bending motion happens in the T-bar, then it'll allow those blades to just bend and recover.
Right
I'm
now
not
is
talking
maximum
about
resistance.
It's minimal resistance.
Oh, minimal, right? No, minimal, right, because you're bending against the thin side. Got it. When it's flat, you'd be trying to bend against something wider. Right now, you're trying to bend something
It's not
thin.
going to bend in that beam stiffness.
Wow, amazing. And you said this would be the kind of stuff that they used in Indy cars for the first time. You said about 25 years ago.
This is very much what they use today as well. This whole arrangement's been around for about 25 or 30 years in IndyCar racing.
Okay.
And sometimes they use push rod assemblies like this, and sometimes they actually use a pull rod, where this rod would be attached to the upright up here, and go down, and it would go through an assembly, a rocker that it would be pulling the upright down instead of holding the car up. Yeah.
Okay.
It's an aerodynamic preference.
Is that gold cylinder there? Is that an accumulator or?
Oh, here?
Yeah.
This is a, when you have a shock absorber like this and it's oil filled, you have to have a,
somewhere for the oil to go, so you don't have to have air pocket.
Correct. It won't cavitate, right? So if you have a piston that's moving back and forth in the oil, if you have a piston in here and you put nitrogen pressure on this side of the piston so it keeps pressure, then it can't cavitate.
Right, because when the piston goes into shock, it takes up oil volume, and you need that oil volume to go. I learned that in RC cars when I was 16.
Yeah, we do the same thing with our water system. Like once we warm the car up, we pressurize our water system, because if the water pressure, if it's under pressure from the very beginning, you can't cavitate.
Right. LS, you said LSR?
It's
block?
called an LSR. It's
clueless with LS, but
it's a purpose-made aluminum block by Concept Performance for LS applications that are high boost applications. So we get the luxury of having a lightweight engine instead of an LSX with cast iron. So we have an LSR. It's kind of an expensive engine block, but we're building a road race car here. We want to keep our weight down. We use a daily dry sump system, a 7-stage. And it has a Brodex LME cylinder head, and it has all billet internals and an LME billet plenum chamber.
You point out the tubes, both I guess you can see the intake charge tubes inside the cockpit.
Yeah, these aluminum tubes that you see that are exposed inside the cockpit in the armrest area, those are the charge tubes from the actual turbocharger to the throttle bodies that are on the back of the plenum.
Right there.
Yeah.
And you said there's not turbo lag because they're really not that long, because they're now turning 180 degrees.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't have to run an intercooler because we're running alcohol, we're running methanol or ethanol. And because of that, it gives us a better cooling capacity. So we can run without an intercooler at lower boost applications. If we get up into 25 PSI boost, we're going to have more temperature. We have to deal with it in a different way. But right now we make 1,350 horsepower on 14 PSI boost.
At the wheels, did you say?
At the wheels.
Wow.
So we don't really have horsepower lag issues. We have plenty of power. We don't think we're going to go up much above 14 or 15 PSI.
Wow. Amazing. And is that the what do you call it when you put a transmission and a rear end together?
It's a transverse gearbox that's mounted in the rear of the car. And
For
it's
weight?
really a structural piece.
Oh, wow.
It holds all of our suspension and has the differential and the gearbox change section. The input shaft is all in one unit, and the suspension hangs from that.
Wow, awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time with somebody like me, just an average guy, just to explain how this stuff works. It fascinates me.
Guys, are you kidding? I mean, it's like, we were fortunate enough to make the cover of Hot Rod Magazine for the June summer edition, the quarterly, and I'm just honored because my son and I built this in our house.
Wow.
In the garage at the back of our house. And of course, I have a lathe, and I have a mill, and I have a TIG welder, and a MIG welder.
Have you guys been race cars builders?
I worked in Indy car racing for 25 years.
Gotcha.
And so I had a lot
that
of
makes
experience
sense.
working with a lot of the suspension systems that I'm showing you. But fabrication of a car like this and packaging is an art. And my son is he's an engineering student at IUPUI, Purdue Indy. And this car is his internship. This was his high school internship. We wanted him to have the ability to get his hands dirty, learn a little bit about welding, fabricating, machining, packaging. And so this was baptism by fire, a 2-year, maybe 2.5-year build that we just went for it. We went, we went into every extreme detail we could.
You know what's interesting too is, as well as cars, I like to study success. And then really what I'm hearing here is this is a 25 or 30 year overnight success, like most people.
I think so too. I mean, at the end of the day, if we've got something to offer to somebody in the community, even our children especially, if we can help get them to understand things early on. I mean, so many of these kids these days are looking at Instagram and they see all these people building things and it looks so easy. Right. But you really have to do it to understand that everything's harder than it looks.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And everything, there's more behind the scenes than you know. I mean, we get a lot of comments on our page about why didn't you do it this way or why didn't you do it that way. And they're good comments. But when you understand the whole picture, then you really understand why we did everything we did.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm really honored here that you took the time to talk to me, Okay. All right. Again, Bob Powers. Channel's Cobbler Bob. It's the easiest way to find me. But yes. Thank you so much. So all the show stuff was on the back side, the far side of the racetrack. And then here's the paddock with all the vendors and even more cars down that way. More vendors over there, main stage there. It's finally winding down here, but it was massive. All right, so we're about to take off here. We're Bob beat. What are your opinions on the whole thing?
I was a little disappointed as a long hauler. In the past, the long haulers were treated as special. I mean, and I'm going back 12 years or so, and they had an extra day for the long haulers. We stayed an extra day, and it was just us and this, that, and the other. And long haulers today, we parked out with the spectators half the time. And the gold and platinum people, they got lunches and stuff, and that's fine. I could care less, but they got the park up close, and I was very disappointed about that.
Right, okay.
And I'm disappointed there's no special 6-day event for the people who have done the whole thing.
Right, okay. I had nothing to compare it to, so this is my first time, so thumbs up for me. Like as I kind of said earlier, the people, meeting the people and getting to talk to real world people who have done things, because what I was telling Brent was there's a lot of information available today, but what I'm finding out is you need to know what to search for. Like a good example is a power steering fitting. What is that power steering fitting? And if you don't know what to look for, you're never going to find that, because that may be number 1040 on a Google search.
Sure.
So I think that stuff's pretty valuable. Meeting some of the people, some of the friends I've made, and even though some of them we just met 4 days ago for the first time, you see them again. Some of the camaraderie I think was awesome. Some of the lines I thought were like, some of the places were easy to get into, but getting into on the first day, a beach bend, being 8 miles.
The personnel was really rude there too.
Yeah. And 8 miles, it took us an hour and 45 minutes. I mean, I'm not sure they can help that because it's you know, in the woods. Beach Bend Raceway is kind of in the woods and only 1 or 2 ways in. You know, but I thought they could have done a better job at Nashville Super Speedway getting in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they need to go to Chick-fil-A, you know, drive through a Chick-fil-A and learn something, you know? But,
yeah, there's something to that, yeah.
you know, but overall, a pretty amazing experience. All my problems, I would say, are first world problems. You know, I'm like, man, I don't have my car here, and,
Oh, yeah.
you know, but I, as with a lot of things I've had in business or sports or whatever, I've never been really disappointed in myself when I failed. If I gave it my best effort, I can honestly say I gave it my best effort, you know, to try and get my car together. And I've had people unsolicited, a bunch of them tell me that are, you know, following, like, you know, knowing that in October I took it apart and, you know, roof and everything, you know, A-pillars and half floor pan and dog legs and painted it and the 4L80, and you're like, man, you're getting a lot done. 'Cause there's some people who have had years and not gotten that much done. So first world problems, but I still give it a big thumbs up.
So, when are you going to cut the frame and put the all-wheel drive in it?
So what's very clear to me on this, trucks are in big time, square body trucks especially. And this is also a filter, you know, because when you have an event like this, where, you know, they basically say no trailers, a lot of the people aren't bringing their non-overdrive stuff, you know, so even though, like, it seems like everybody here has old cars with fuel injection, EFI, and overdrive, or even, you know, overdrive via like 5 or 6 speed manuals, a Tremex. That's not necessarily saying that this is that common in our home world. You know what I mean? You know, I think if you're here, this is, especially the long haulers and people taking multiple days off, you're attracting people that, you know, have maybe more means or something like that. So in other words, it's like, this is not necessarily just a cross-section of America. You know what I mean? It is a filter in a way. Patina is in a big way. I think patina can be done well. Patina can look bad. It can look really good. I think my favorite patina car by far was what was that wagon? Was it 55? That light blue wagon. I'll put a picture of it here. 55 Chevy station wagon.
Yes.
Yeah, the light blue 55 Chevrolet Bel Air wagon. I thought that was perfect.
It's a 210.
Okay. So I still need to up my game on that, but what else? EFI and muscle cars. I like seeing Dodges with, you know, modern Dodge V8s. I like seeing Chevrolets with modern Chevrolet. What I didn't see, I think I only saw one Olds.
Oldsmobiles with modern Olds engines?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but I only saw one Olds V8 with EFI on it. You know, and that was Dominic, gosh, what was his name? And the copper orange colored 71 or 72 with the LED headlights at our hotel. You know, so that was way underrepresented. So I definitely need to get my car done and bring that here and represent for Olds Camp. So that is a wrap for the whole Hot Rod Power Tour. If you didn't see some of the other 4 videos, go back and check them out. My channel, remember, is Cobbling in Cars. I got 2 kinds of content, so, you know, one or both may tickle your fancy. So I wanted to be, you know, direct, open, and honest with our feedback about the event. I would definitely do it again. It was interesting to hear Brent's point of view on things. I love traveling with him. He's a great guy to talk to. Feel free to check out some of my other content. I'll get the 71 Cutlass up and running as well. The 4L80E is in it. I need to hook up the Holley Terminator EFI throttle body fuel injection to run the transmission. There is a 482 cubic inch Olds being built for it. That's still a little ways out, but I will get the car back on the road. And I also need to wet, sand, and buff the paint job. So check that out. God bless you guys. Thanks so much for watching.